I was really looking forward to Doctor Strange 2 after the first one, which is one of my favorite MCU movies, and to see how he interacted with the multiverse now that that was opened up from Spider-Man No Way Home. I didn't really have high expectations for this movie with how the recent movies have been, and this movie was still a disappointment. I'm going to go ahead and say now there'll be spoilers, and I'm going to quickly summarize up what I thought and then go through the movie to give context to all my general thoughts. So the quick summary is the story makes no fucking sense, but the visuals were really cool. Benedict Cumberbatch and Elizabeth Olsen did a really good job. The action was completely dull because I had no idea what the power levels of anyone were or what people were actually vulnerable to. And Doctor Strange, in his own fucking movie, doesn't beat the bad guy at any point in the movie, which is Scarlet Witch. The only fight that he wins in this movie, he wins one against a monster, a bullshit fist fight against Mordo, and a fight against himself in his own fucking movie. So I'm going to go into it now. Let's just get into the fucking plot. So to start this movie, we get a different version of Doctor Strange in the multiverse with America Chavez, and she falls into our Doctor Strange's universe when the other Doctor Strange dies. Her ability, which we find out later, is to jump multiverses, and there's only one of her across all the multiverses, but everyone else has a version of himself in every multiverse. Doctor Strange and Wong, the Supreme Sorcerer, kill the monster chasing after her, and they say it's a different type of magic than the magic that they use, and she shows them the dead Doctor Strange from the multiverse. He goes to Scarlet Witch to ask her about the magic, and it turns out that she's the one who's after America Chavez because she wants to be in a universe where she actually has kids. And he just completely ignores the stuff that happened in WandaVision and says, "Nah, we're good," which is also complete bullshit. But also, like, how the fuck did her and Vision have kids? I mean, Strange says that she created them from magic, so I don't really know what that means. The implication that I got was that they were her and Vision's kids, but she created them from magic because Vision's a fucking cyborg, so they can't have kids. Whatever, it doesn't even matter. So she tells Doctor Strange to hand over America Chavez at the Sorcerer's headquarters, and when we go there, they're ready for battle. They talk for a second, and essentially Doctor Strange says no. So Wanda just starts blasting everybody, and she rips apart all of the sorcerers together. I guess she just got a huge power boost from the previous stuff, because she's like invincible in this movie. And she makes Doctor Strange and Wong look like complete pussies. Like, she beats them with no effort. So at this point, you're only like 20 minutes in, and I was already like, okay, I'm not going to enjoy this movie. And Wanda is suddenly evil when she wasn't portrayed that way in the show or the last movie that we saw her in. She has this book, The Darkhold, that I guess is supposed to make its user evil, but that's a really shitty explanation to just say that they wanted her to be the villain. The action in this scene where she's attacking the cosmetage or whatever the fuck it's called for all the Doctor Strange sorcerers, the action scene is confusing because Doctor Strange, I thought, was like a god with multi-dimensional control, and Wanda was still a human, so if she got hit, she would be hurt, but she just plows through everyone with no issue. And as far as any kind of stakes or power levels or who's a threat to who, I have no fucking idea what's going on. It's just CGI magic flying all over the place. And at one point, Doctor Strange puts her in the mirror dimension, where he tricks her into going into it, where they explicitly said in the first movie that it doesn't interact with our world, so essentially you can't escape it. But she uses the power of reflections to escape it, which I have no fucking idea what that means or how that works. So anyway, she's trying to suck America Chavez's power out, and Chavez's power activates whenever she's really scared. So a portal opens up, and her and Strange fall through it, and they fall through a whole bunch of other universes. And this was all like visually really cool, but everything else is just such a mess around it. And they end up in a universe where Strange is already dead. And we find out that America Chavez accidentally killed her moms because she was afraid of a bee and her power triggers, and she can't control it. So a bee made her kill her moms. I'm sure they're not actually dead and they're going to come into play later, but that's the narrative for the movie. And he runs into Mordo in this one, who actually likes Strange. And Mordo explains the dream walking, where people can be possessed by themselves from other universes. And Mordo poisons their tea and arrests Doctor Strange and America Chavez. And this universe is researching the multiverse and says that people jumping in between them can cause incursions, which can cause one universe or both to be destroyed. So Scarlet Witch is dreamwalking, and one of the sorcerers stabs her book so it cuts off. She tortures Wong. Well, she tortures his students to make Wong tell her what he knows. He takes her to this magic temple thing on Mount Wondercore. He takes her as close as he can get, but he says his magic can't take him all the way up there. So she flies them as high as she can, which is all the way up there. And then they walk in together. And he walks one step behind her, and he's not handcuffed or anything. And he doesn't even try to attack her. Like, he literally makes swords 30 seconds later. And in this moment, he just is like chilling with her and doesn't even try to kill her, who they view as the biggest threat to the multiverse right now. I mean, presumably she's still human and can still be stabbed, but who the fuck knows, I guess, in this movie. So she gets pissed off at him before she dreamwalks and throws him off the cliff. This whole thing logistically is just a nightmare. We see him fall like 20 feet away from the cliff and 100 feet down. And then later, because he's obviously not dead because it's Wong, he wakes up and he's like 20 feet down and on like a 1 foot wide ledge that barely sticks out from the cliff. So there was just no attention to detail there. So we go back to Doctor Strange and America waking up in prison, and they're being researched on by Doctor Strange's love interest, Christine. We get a complete cameo fest here where Doctor Strange meets the Illuminati, who are the multiverse task force for these people, and John Krasinski plays Reed Richards from Fantastic Four. And Captain America's girlfriend is this version of Captain America. And there's a black chick who I think is Captain Marvel. And Patrick Stewart shows up as Xavier. They tell Doctor Strange that he's the biggest threat to the multiverse. And that they had to kill their own Doctor Strange after he killed Thanos because he turned to the Darkhold. So Wanda dreamwalks into this multiverse again and shows up at Illuminati headquarters. She literally shreds Mr. Fantastic and pops his head. And the Bolt guy that was sitting there the whole time, she seals his mouth and he kills himself. So then we get an all-girls fight, obviously. It's between this Captain Marvel and Captain whatever this Captain America version is. Captain whatever steals the I can do this all day line after like 30 seconds of fighting and then gets cut in half by her own fucking shield. So this entire thing was just cringy as shit. Captain Marvel and her just blast each other a bunch, and then eventually Wanda wins, because she always wins, and she drops a statue on her and kills her, which I thought Captain Marvel was like a god, but fuck it, I guess. Doctor Strange has magic handcuffs on when he's with the Illuminati people, and they all went to go fight Wanda, so it's just him and Mordo, and Mordo attacks him and cuts his handcuffs off, and then Doctor Strange slaps one on him, and then they fall and the handcuffs break and they have a fist fight that's really shitty with a million cuts and you can't tell what's happening. He jumps off of him and then jumps off the wall and jumps out of this hole that they're in. And I have no idea why this hole is here. It's just a hole in the fucking floor. So Wanda, now she's done killing everybody, shows up and Xavier says that's enough. And she's so powerful that she beats him in a mind battle. So she's better at sorcery than all of the sorcerers combined on Earth. And she's better at mind powers than Xavier. So she's obviously fucking perfect. America Chavez wakes up her power, or her power has its awakening, or whatever you want to say, and punches the prison open so she can escape. And her, Doctor Strange, and Wanda run to try to get the Book of Ashanti to stop Wanda, because the Book of Ashanti gives you whatever power you desire. And I'll just say it's completely fucking retarded to have a foot chase scene when you have all characters that can fly. But whatever. So they get to this last vault because they're running through all these metal doors that Wanda just keeps blasting open. And they get to this last one and they just wait. And then Wanda teleports in somehow. Not really sure how that works. And Strange cuts it open and floods it. And then they run through the door to the multiverse. Like they open the multiverse door. They jump out to this Book of Ashanti. And then with no urgency whatsoever, they just like slowly walk up to it and look at it. And don't get the power that they need. So obviously Wanda catches up because they took their fucking time. She dumps Doctor Strange and Christine in a different universe and then takes America back to our universe to her temple thing on the mountain. So Strange in the other universe runs into himself, who used the Darkhold and has a third eye on his forehead. And they throw music notes at each other and our Strange kills him by knocking him out of the window onto a fence. And I don't have any idea what's happening in this scene. I guess it looked cool, but I don't know why they're throwing music notes at each other. I don't know how he can throw Doctor Strange out a window and he just falls. I thought Doctor Strange could fly, but I guess he can only fly because he has the cape. But he should still be able to teleport, I would think. But whatever. Irrelevant, I guess. So this is where we cut to Wong waking up on the cliffside that I mentioned earlier. After we saw him fall like 100 feet, but for some reason he's only 20 feet away. And he didn't roll off this little ledge that he landed on. And our Doctor Strange uses the Darkhold to dreamwalk into his corpse of the very first Doctor Strange we saw in the movie. I don't really understand how any of this makes sense, but whatever. He asks Christine to protect him from the ghost demon things that are going to attack him for doing this. And she uses a flashlight and candle to kill all of them. And then after she kills the ones that are in that world, Doctor Strange controls the ones in our world, and they fly him up to Wanda. And this must be like the slowest fucking spell ever, because she's still going, and Doctor Strange got dropped into another universe, fought himself, dreamwalked into a corpse, flew the corpse all the way to her, or took a sling ring all the way to her, saved Wong, and she's still fucking going. So they fight her, and Wanda's still winning, and then the ghost things attack her, and America says, "You're going to take my power, aren't you?" which would kill her. And she tells him to do it, even though she called the first Doctor Strange evil for literally this exact decision. You know, if you want this to be her arc, all you have to do is have her be too scared to die and just run away in the beginning, instead of sacrificing her life, and get away from the mean Doctor Strange. And then later on, she volunteers to die. And then she has, she was scared, and then she embraces her responsibility, or whatever you want to say. But they just completely fucked it up. So Strange tells her that she can control it and he believes in her and whatever. And she fistfights Wanda. So obviously Wong, Strange, and their entire group, and Mr. Fantastic, and the Mouth Guy, and Captain Marvel, and their Captain America, none of them were strong enough to fight Wanda. But American Chavez, who just learned how to control her powers, can fight her hand to hand. Okay. I don't even really understand her power. She punches and portals fly out, but it seems like the punches also have a really big impact, so I don't really understand how her power works at all. I guess she can punch really hard. I don't know. So she punches a portal to where Scarlet Witch just was in the other multiverse with the version of herself that she just possessed, and the kids are really scared of her, and now she realizes she's wrong. So she is the big sad and stops fighting and destroys all the Darkholds and buries herself in the temple. And this was the climax of the Doctor Strange movie, in case you fucking forgot. She punches a portal to get him away, and we get, I guess, a happy ending. I don't fucking know. Doctor Strange and Christine split up again because of the incursions between universes being dangerous. America is in our universe learning sorcery from Doctor Strange. And then we end with Doctor Strange walking, and he screams and has a third eye in his forehead, just like the evil one that he killed. So that's it. The quick summary is, what the fuck? This movie didn't make any sense. And because their powers are not clearly defined or explained, the action scenes are boring as shit. It's just CGI flying at CGI. Great. Wanda went from the Avengers to super evil in the movies. Even if you include the show, what she did was clearly bad, but it wasn't really portrayed that way in the show, as much as just her being sad. And they do the whole, no one understands what you went through and all that to try to justify it. America Chavez's power, I just don't understand. Can she stop everything because she can just punch and send people to other universes at will? I have no idea how that's going to play out logistically. And it's really lame that Doctor Strange in his own movie doesn't beat the villain at any point. He beats a monster at the beginning, Mordo, in the bullshit fist fight, and another version of himself. What the fuck? Wanda also went from pretty powerful but vulnerable, kind of a glass cannon type deal, to being invincible and literally more powerful than entire groups of superheroes and all the sorcerers on Earth together. So I don't have any idea how any of that shit works. They just kind of did whatever they want for what they needed in the movie. I'm unsure of what the message of this movie is. For Doctor Strange, I guess it was supposed to be, appreciate what you have and don't sacrifice individuals for the greater good, is kind of what it seemed like they were going for. He enjoyed his time with Christine and refused to kill America, even though that would have been the logical thing to do. And his other versions thought it was the right thing to do also. So I guess that's kind of his path or his lesson from the movie or whatever you want to say. For America, the message is just believe in yourself. Doctor Strange says it 1,000,000 times to her, and that's what saves the day at the end. And for Wanda, and I wanted to save anything political or cultural till the end because I don't really want to talk about that stuff, but it kind of is what it is in these movies. But I just think it's hilarious that Hollywood is so pro-choice and pro-abortion and whatever, especially with the timing of this Supreme Court shit. And the message for the movie seemed to be that children were the most important thing in a woman's life. Her children were created by magic, I guess, and she was willing to kill a child and kill dozens of people, including heroes, and destroy universes just to be a mom. So I'm not really sure what else I should get from that, but that kind of seemed to be the message. And to get a little bit further into the political shit, they made America have 2 moms, which I don't really give a shit about, beyond the fact that it's just so obvious what they're doing and the message that they're trying to push that it's annoying. Whatever. not really a huge deal. Just kind of one of those things you roll your eyes at. And the MCU is really struggling with women characters right now because they can't have them lose to men. They can't have them learn from men. So when you have Strange versus Wanda, he gets his ass kicked all fucking movie, and then she has to kill herself. She literally beats Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supreme and their entire army with minimal effort. And the only one who contends with her at all is Captain Marvel for like 2 minutes, female Captain America for like a minute, and American Chavez, who ends up being the one to save the day, who didn't even know how her fucking power worked until 30 seconds before this fight. And even then, she was just kind of going on instinct. And this is the same shit that happened in like Thor Ragnarok, for example, where Helena had to get beaten by a monster at the end because they couldn't have Thor beat her. It makes no sense to have the hero of your movie lose to the villain over and over and the villain kill himself or get destroyed by a monster or fight another character who was weak until 5 minutes ago. It's just dog shit. They also don't seem to understand how far you can go with a character to make them sympathetic but clearly the villain and to make them interesting. If Wanda had gone to another universe and just sent the other version of herself back to our universe or whatever so that she could have kids and the other version of herself could deal with not having kids, that's kind of going too far, but at least she's not just murdering people in mass. And having her murder every hero that she comes across and hundreds of people along the way and willing to kill children and torture people and destroy universes, she's not sympathetic at that point. But that's how they try to play it off. Like they do the whole, like, oh, poor Wanda thing has no kids. And like, yeah, it's sad, but that sadness doesn't get you justification for taking over villages, for killing people, for killing kids. It's ridiculous. So those are my thoughts on Doctor Strange 2. This is the best visual movie with a lot of action that I thought was boring as shit that I've ever seen. It's such a bizarre contrast. I have no intention of watching this fucking movie again. I wouldn't watch this shit again if it was free. I think pretty much anything else you spend 2 hours doing would be better than spending it on this fucking movie. So yeah, that's it. See ya.